right, everybody. We'd like to welcome Rickie Fowler into the interview room here at the 2025 Rocket Classic. Rickie, this is a tournament that's close to your heart. You haven't missed one. What's so special about it for you?
For me, having the partnership with Rocket, which, a while back was Quicken Loans. The tournament was based in the DC area, and, seeing that partnership continue to grow and kind of hear about this dream from them and wanting a tournament to ultimately end up in Detroit. It seemed like I wouldn't say a big ask, but it's a big move, but that's where Rocket's based up here and then roots in Detroit. So to see that all come to fruition and be a part of the event starting here in Detroit through a few different rebrandings from Quicken Loans to Rocket Mortgage, and now we're at Rocket. And to see this event grow, see the fan and town support that's grown over the years, and then also what Rocket, and the Rocket families have been able to do with kind of helping rebuild Detroit. So like I said, it's just been great to be a part of and fun to be back this week.
You're a six-time winner on the tour, and your last of those six came here in 23. What do you need to do to get over the line again and be a repeat winner here?
Play good golf. Been close and seeing a lot of good things, and nice to be in a position where my body's starting to feel a bit better and starting to see some results. And being in the final group at Colonial, having a decent week at Memorial. You're never as far off as you think you might be, and it's tough out here. It's a very fine line, but I know I'm plenty good enough to win, eliminate some mistakes, and hopefully see some putts go in. We'll have ourselves a good chance this week.
All right, we'll take some questions. Just raise your hand, and we'll get started on the side here.
Hey, Rickie, how did the course play today, and especially for someone who's played this course quite often? Some of the trees have been removed with this restoration effort, but what was your feel on the course today?
With the rain we got yesterday, unfortunately, it's pretty soft out there. It'd be nice if we can dodge the rest of the moisture through the week. It was starting to dry out a little bit yesterday before the storm came through. With the restoration on the back end of this week, it'd be fun to see it stay dry and see this place kind of bake out and get firm. Typically we've had storms and wet conditions here, and that's why you see scores be very low with how receptive the course and the greens can be. So I'm hopeful we can get some drier conditions, but right now it's very scoreable.
And it's not quite still water, but you're in Detroit pretty often participating in the Rocket Classic. What are some things that you do just get away, decompress, and things that you like about Detroit?
Spending a little bit of time downtown, stayed down at the Shinola and been around in the downtown area a bit, getting up to Birmingham. Tournament week, I really don't have a bunch of extra, time. We usually stay out here in a house. We'll have a chef with us, have the family, so it's much more just go back to the house, hang out with the family. That's kind of the decompress and relax. It's a bit more, it's a work week. Luckily we enjoy our work, and so a lot of time just spent here at the course, and then, with family, and since we do get to travel as a family still.
Thanks, Rickie.
All right, we'll go to Jimmy.
Strong finishes for you over the last 2 months. Anything specific in your game that's changed?
A lot of it's just body starting to feel a bit better. I don't think any of us are ever at a 100% out here. If you can somehow manage to stay in the 75 to 80% health-wise, that's a good spot. So been working on that, and I think that's been one of the biggest things, is getting back into a spot where feeling pretty good and allowing myself to go play golf.
And as we head towards the end of the season, a lot of attention turning towards the FedEx Cup standings. Entering this week, you come in at 69, rated kind of that cutoff for Memphis. Is that something you're thinking about at all? And would it mean a lot more to you to make it to the playoffs, especially with the new Tour Championship format this season?
Yeah, that's everyone's aware of where they stand, and the numbers and where we're at in the season. It's good to be in a position where I've been heading the right direction and starting to see some good results. And so I'm excited, with this week and next week, and then see kind of how those go to dictate what I may do after the British, because there's a fine line. Obviously, you want to go play well and earn some points, but make sure there's enough to where you're still fresh to go play and postseason or the playoffs. But if we need to play, we're going to play.
Any new stickers on the water bottle?
They rotate. I think the newest is my Inside the Ropes Access TV sticker. So water bottle has access now.
All right, we'll get you a microphone in just a second. We'll come to you. Thank you.
Rickie, just playing with Jay and Grant today. So I'm sure you hammered out an extension for the Rocket Classic to continue beyond this. What do you think the tournament needs to do as far as come to an agreement between the tour and Rocket as far as making sure that the tournament survives past next year?
Well, I think I stay out of the numbers side of it or the going too deep into it, but I know with myself and the partnership, and like I talked about earlier, being a part of starting with it being Quicken Loans to Rocket Mortgage to now Rocket, the dream when the tournament used to be based in the DC area, the dream was to get a tournament to Detroit, and to see that all come together and see how this tournament has grown, and now with golf course renovation, I feel like there's a lot of time and effort invested to having this tournament be what it's become. So, yeah, I know there'd be a lot of people that would be, disappointed if this wasn't something that could continue on. I've definitely enjoyed the partnership and enjoyed, getting to, spend time in Detroit and get to know more about Detroit, because this is, part of the country where we don't get to a whole lot. There's only a few tournaments up in this general area. So yeah, I stay out of, like I said, I stay out of the details, but I definitely enjoy being out there with Jay and Grant today. Look forward to, I think Jay's off the rest of the week. He'll be back out next week, but I know Grant and some of the other family will be around this week, so looking forward to spending time with them.
Just a quick follow-up is just how important would it be, do you think, for the tournament for Rocket to get a better place in the schedule? Whether that, I don't know if it could be turned into a signature event, but just a better place where it's not wedged between signature events and majors so that they could get more top-tier players to come into the tournament.
Well, it's tough. It'll be interesting to see how things shake out and, do signature events, if you're looking long-term, do just all events become big events and guys just play, a pretty similar schedule and not take many weeks off. It's hard to, you can look at the tour in so many different ways. I feel like there needs to be, less events, less cards. The tour gets elevated. The product is a little bit more, there's more continuity from what you would say, like a top event to a lower level or an opposite field event. Sometimes it's tough. You have to remove yourself from your current situation, but I don't think the PGA Tour should necessarily have secondary or opposite field events. I think the PGA Tour product is the PGA Tour product. So there's a lot you could go into, but to me, a PGA Tour event should be a PGA Tour event, and it shouldn't be necessarily, well, this one's elevated or this is an opposite field, and then it goes into, you're talking about scheduling and where you're at based on, if it's elevated or not, or majors. The majors and the players are the core events or the big events that are on the schedule, and golf fans to non-golf fans, those are the ones that, they know about those, they know what those are. How we elevate PGA Tour events outside of that. And so then it may not become a thing where are you sandwiched or not, and maybe not as big of a scheduling difficulty if there's all those different kinds of events.
All right. Yes, sir. Right there.
Hey, Rickie, thanks. Welcome back. You've played about as much golf on this course as any of these guys out here this week. Just wondering if you have any thoughts on the restoration that's planned starting next week with a lot of tree removal, removing filling in the pond on 14. Just any thoughts on how the course will play after that?
I haven't seen, I guess, the plans necessarily. I've just heard some of the basics. I know a lot of it is on, drainage, irrigation, regrassing, being able to be in a position where they can, grow some proper rough. So I can't necessarily comment on, design aspect. I'm looking forward to seeing some stuff and learning a little bit more on that. So yeah, that's about what I can give right now. Hoping to maybe be able to give some input, and maybe some more players can see or hear about a little bit more in detail on what the plans are, and if we can help, or where that all stands. But this place has been here for a while. It's pretty old. I do think it's time for a little revamp, especially when you talk about the irrigation and the drainage and grass, and having a kind of a fresh start. But we also want to make sure golf course wise and architecturally and playability, everything matches as well.
All right. Anything further for Rickie? Oh, one over here.
I got a little piggyback question off of that as well, because this restoration is bringing back a lot of the features that Donald Ross originally put into this course to naturally mitigate water poolage and things like that. Have you played any other courses that have done a restoration like this, where it's using older technologies or original designs for a more natural effect than trying to rebuild the wheel, so to speak?
Yeah, I think there's some places if there's some places you may not know if like a restoration was done and why it was done, certain purposes, unless you spoke to the people who were doing the redesign and why they did certain things. I think there's definitely a way that you can use some old school and new school combined to kind of get the best of both worlds. There's so many great options for drainage nowadays that you can use some old school techniques as well, and I think they can work hand in hand.
All right, Rickie, appreciate your time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.